Hello everybody, welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Gus, formerly known as GusBot in the chat. It's nice to see you all. I see Huxel in chat, Emmanuel, Eric, Alberto, Sam, thanks for being here. It's lovely to see you. I am joined by the wonderful and talented Ana Medina today, who's going to be designing in Adobe XD. Anna, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, hi. It's awesome to be here, super excited. Well, I'm Ana Medina, and I am a senior UX UI designer. I work at a company called Classy. I currently live in San Diego. And yeah, I'm from Mexico City, been here a bunch of years, so I feel like I'm definitely more from California. But yeah, it's good to be here, thank you.
Yeah, if you want, I can look through a little bit of your work. Is there work on your website, or should I look at your?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on my website. I have some stuff in Behance, yeah.
Oh, here we go. So this is just a bit of your work that you've worked on.
Yeah, so I've had the chance to work at really cool agency called Telepathy, ServiceNow, and now I'm Classy.
And you worked at Digital Telepathy with one of our favorites and many-time guests, Claude Pichet. So if you've ever watched Claude, they're good friends.
Like my brother from another mother.
He's the one that introduced us, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And Jess Moon, who is also, she's been here a bunch of times, and she's such an awesome designer.
And we really hope to get Jess back on the stream. Jess, if you're listening, we're going to get you back on. Yeah, and we're going to watch some anime too, because why not? So before you go and talk about what you're going to be working on for the day, I just want to let everyone know quickly about some ways you can engage with us, because after all, this is a live stream and it's a two-way conversation. So we want you to actually join in the chat on behance.net/live, talk to us, ask us questions, get involved in the designs. There's a way that we want to incentivize you to do that. In about 30 minutes, we're actually going to be giving away one of these fantastic Moo notebooks, which I can't get out, but I got it. And they're very cool. They have lay flat technology. Whoa.
What are these green pages?
Pretty amazing. We'll be giving one of those away. And also, in about an hour and a half, we're going to be reviewing designs that you've created. So if you actually check out the challenge tab right above chat, you'll see a bunch of details about how you need to design a homepage for an e-commerce mobile app. If you design that, it only has to be one screen, and share it with us. We'll give it a review at the end of the stream. In the last stream, we only had one design. I would love to see 5 in this stream.
Yes, we can do so much better.
Or maybe more than 5, I don't know. I don't want to limit you, but at least 5 would be great. And then we'll have one winner on the day who will get a year subscription to Creative Cloud. And just really quickly, let's take a look at the schedule. We'll let you know what's going on for the day. We were live right before this with Kevin Lee, who was hosting the wonderful and fantastic Jesse Showalter. You might have seen some of Jesse's YouTube videos. He did some shameless plugs, and we loved every minute of it. Then followed by that is me with Anna, and then after that, Kevin's going to be live again with special guest and special host Michael Shays, who is the originator of Adobe Live as we know it. So we're really excited to have him on the stream later. And that's the rundown for the day, and we'll also be live again tomorrow and on Thursday, so make sure you come back around for more. Okay, we got that out of the way. Cool. If you want to let everyone know what you'll be working on today, I think that would be great.
Yeah, okay, cool. So first of all, I guess I'm just going to give a little bit of background on the topic that I'm going to be working on. So I right now work at Classy. We have a fundraising platform for nonprofits. And ever since I joined Classy, I've been really inspired by the world of fundraising, and especially like how to get younger audiences involved in fundraising. So I was trying to combine basically one of my passions, which is fitness and fundraising, to create an app that's basically for every activity that you do, you can give the proceeds to any organization of your choice. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, and there will be special components of it that are more related to like how you can create impact and see, you know, more transparency as far as where your money is going towards and all the causes that you're supporting. So,
nice. Yeah. So we're going to look at kind of more or less your full UX UI design process this week, starting with some of the beginning stages and then maybe working into some advanced prototyping as we go. And if you have ideas for the designs as we walk through in terms of what type of activities you like, or maybe some opinions on colors or fonts, feel free to share them with us. We'd love to hear what you think. And we'll say hi to everybody really quickly in chat. We've got Chad in there. We've got Nikita. Thanks for joining us. Try to speak in English if you can so that we can understand. Hannah, Ryan, awesome to see you. It is Throwback Tuesday with Michael Shays.
Oh, that's right.
Too bad it's not Thursday. Good call. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you, Anel, as always. And we can go ahead and jump onto your screen and do some of your designs if you're ready.
Yeah, totally.
And check out that beautiful background.
I mean, this is really soothing.
This is the design. And we're done.
This is it. Cool. So I have done a little bit of prep work ahead of this, just to kind of give a little bit of an overview as far as what we're going to be working on today. So just to give you a little bit of context, I'm going to start with, basic login and sign up flow, building your profile. So this would be like the equivalent of an onboarding experience. And then we're going to go ahead and dive into, as you can see, my wireframes went from like very high fidelity to like very abstract. Did you start with any sketches or anything, or did you just jump straight into the Yeah, I had a few sketches. I typically do like user flows, and then I'll do like some high fidelity wireframing. And that's kind of like where I spend most of my time, just because I tend to do pretty like high fidelity as far as like the copy that should be there is there, like placeholder content should be there.
Cool.
So by the time I get to the visual design, it's just kind of like making sure that everything is feeling like nice and tight instead of just going back and revising the UX of it.
I think that's really smart to have your copy and some of the realistic components in there in advance, because I think sometimes people will make designs with placeholder copy, and then when they put in the real text, it's longer or larger, and they haven't designed around it. Right?
I know, and it's such a pain that you have to like readjust your design to fit the content. So it's typically like one of the tips that I give to everyone is just like design with real content as much as you can and to the highest fidelity possible.
That's a tip for everyone that's working on the challenge.
True.
We'd love to see something with more or less real content, something that you put some thought into.
Yeah, and something that's just, it really elevates your prototyping, like even messages like the iOS native messages that you would see when you trigger an action. So things like that, when you prototype it all, it just feels more real and you can do really good usability testing with it. So just a little tip there.
Yeah, right on. I think that's a great tip. We have a lot more people saying hi in chat. We've got Lillian, we've got Vanya, Anissa, Karen, Wes, Juan David, Kaita, my good friend, always with us. Then we have Voodoo Val. She's our very trusty moderator. She's going to keep everyone in check. Nora, Beck, Jay, oh my gosh.
Hi, oh my gosh.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining, Thanks for the support. See some familiar faces.
Yeah. And if you're watching and you know Anna personally, let us know in chat. Sometimes you'll have coworkers in here or family members.
I know. Don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
Serious.
We need embarrassing stories in chat.
Or maybe not.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Lily. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Cool. I won't hold you up anymore. But if they have a question, I'll deliver it your way, and then we can go ahead and get started on wherever you want to start today.
Yeah. So typically I would do sign up and login at the end, just because that's one of the simpler things to build out. And that's one of the places where we might be able to define like our visual design in other areas, and that will help shape what the login experience looks like. So what we can do from here is maybe start with the onboarding and kind of like get started and start building out like a little bit of the experience here. So typically when I do an onboarding experience and when you do like a native app, you will notice that there's like a series of steps that help you build out your profile. Those steps for this particular app would be simple things like maybe uploading your profile photo, giving your account a username and your location. So one of the important pieces of this app is that later on we will be building a team feature. Cool. So basically you can invite your friends and you can all fundraise together. So that's why it's important for us to like get your photo and get basically your username. So,
I really like that. I think that's a great idea, having a team building function.
Yeah, and you know, I've been using the Apple Watch a lot, and yeah, it's just such a cool feature to see like your friends doing an activity and you kind of get to be part of it in a way, and you get to encourage them and send them little messages.
Especially for the competitive type people. I know, or like Orange Theory is so popular because you're like watching everyone else work hard and you're like, oh, I don't want to be last on the list.
My God, I know.
Get my heart rate up. I've never done it, but we have a coworker that loves
the Orange Theory. Yeah, I have a few friends that do it, and they are just
crazy about it.
Yeah, so in love with it.
I used to have to, I would get up at like 5:30 to get to work because I had a really long commute, and I would walk by an Orange Theory on my way to the train station. Yeah. At like seriously 5:30 in the morning, and it would be packed.
Pumped.
Like every machine, it was like a line outside the door.
I know.
Okay, have fun, guys.
I think I would enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe. It seems competitive.
Well, we were talking earlier, and Anna's also very much into fitness, as she had said. Fitness and charity are two passions of hers. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I do wake up really early too, like 4:30, and just go to the gym, and I have this like ritual, and it's
4:30?
Very regimented.
Dang, you're one of those Orange Theory people I was talking about.
I'm like, oh, maybe I would enjoy that. Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to bring that into the app here too.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, I have prepared some things, but I would also love the input from the chat. I don't have a name for the app, and I just don't feel like great about naming things. I feel like it's such like a, I don't know, stressful part of the process for me. So I would love to do a little brainstorm, and maybe everyone can help me out.
I can keep a running list too.
Yeah.
So if people have app name ideas, and if you want to give them the quick like one-liner for what the app does to cue them up again.
Yeah, so fitness, I don't know, let me see, like the 1 second pitch would be...
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I can help if you want.
Fitness for fundraising. Yeah, I think would be kind of like it in a nutshell.
Cool. Okay, so fitness for fundraising is more or less the theme, and we would love some app name ideas. I'll be keeping track of them. And maybe, Val, if you're able to, at the end, if we have enough names, we can do a little straw poll. People can vote on it or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool, so I have, as you can see here, some of the colors that I've kind of prepared beforehand. I have a couple of the neutrals, so like grays, white.
When you were selecting the color palette, did you use a tool to do that, or did you just do it with your eyeball? Or?
Yeah, so Adobe Color is actually pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's one of those tools that I really like because it generates really awesome palettes, and you don't really have to think about it, and you can always like adjust it. So one of the things that I typically do when I use this tool is like you can pretty much do, okay, maybe I do complementary or you know, monochromatic.
Cool.
And then you can always like adjust from here, which is super cool, and you get the RGB hex values, all of that.
Have you used Adobe Capture?
Adobe Capture?
I talk about it a lot, but I think it has this built into it, more or less.
Yeah, I've used it on my phone. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's a mobile, and you can just take your camera.
A photo,
and then like grab a color palette from.
Yeah, I have used that. Yeah. And then it's really nice because I remember you can sync it to your library, and it's everywhere. So that's pretty
this
cool.
is really neat.
Yeah, so that's kind of like one of the little tricks to come up with a nice color palette, and you want to make sure that you have like a nice balance. I know like some brands tend to do like typically like the typical color that's blue, and then some grays and maybe like a pop of like red or orange. But for the apps that I build, especially if it's like a concept app like what I'm doing today, I really like to have a broader palette. So if I need to do any charts or any visualizations, like I can just do that really quickly. And I tend to start with like typically 3 types of gray. I found that's kind of what works best. So I have, you know, obviously white and black for like text colors, and then I have 2 grays to use like either as background or like some other alternative.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And just for the sake of anyone that's brand new, if you wanted to add a color to your assets, how would you do that?
So that's a great question. So
There might be some people that have never done that before.
yeah, so I typically like start with building a shape and then just filling it out with, let's say, this color. And you can always adjust it, and if you like that, then you can go ahead and add it here
That's easy.
as easy as that.
Cool. So there you go.
And you can always remove it if you don't like that.
I actually really like that red, but it doesn't fit with your palette.
But it's really cool because you get options to apply it as a fill or as a border.
Awesome.
So if you select this shape, for example, and you just click once, you get it as a fill. But you can always do right here, border, and then it just does the border, which is really neat.
I didn't know that. Pro tips.
And then
We have some people saying hi to you, and you might know some of them.
Hey.
Diego Baez. Do you know that
yeah,
person?
we work together.
Yeah,
Hey, Diego.
Diego's in there. Veronica Castillo is
Right.
in there. And then we also have some names. We've got Fit Fund is one.
Okay, I like that.
Fit Razor is another one that some people like. So we'll keep these running. Keep sharing them with us.
Yeah.
And then we'll select one of them. Also, Matthias is in there. He's a longtime moderator, big XD fan. So thanks for joining us,
Hey.
Matthias.
Perfect. Yeah, very cool. So another thing that I did was start with character style. So, I mean, when you first start building an app, you might want to consider building out like a grid system. One of the things that I'm doing at work right now is building out an actual design system. And you can start like multiple ways, but like typically you would start with your foundational pieces, like including like typography, scale, your grid system, things that are kind of like setting up the base. And then what I've done here, and you don't see my grids here, but I've kind of set up this type scale with very simple H1, H2, H3.
Cool.
I have a few variations as far as like the body copy goes. I have the regular, and I have a bold, and I have a subtle, which you might want to use.
Do you have a go-to typeface?
I'm really liking Averta right now.
So that's what you've used pretty much on everything that we see?
Yes. So
Cool.
all of this is Averta. I think it's like a nice, fresh take on like a sans serif, but it's not like super rounded. So if you see here, it still has like kind of sharp lines, but
yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
When you're building out the design for an app, do you try to keep it to like 1 or 2 typefaces?
Yeah,
I typically... Or do you get crazy?
No, I typically go with one.
Okay. Cool.
Which is, I find type is like, it's so beautiful, but it's so hard to, like for me in particular, to kind of like pair. I'm like, oh, this looks right to me, but it's always so subjective, and it's like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know the right balance, you know?
I find that like if it's 2, it's fine, especially if it looks right to the eye, but sometimes I'll see designers play with 3 or 4 and it makes me feel like anxious. I'm like, oh, there's too many shapes, like I don't know what typefaces those are. So I'm with you. I'm kind of in the 1 camp too.
When in doubt, you know.
We've got Claude in the chat. Claude, thanks for joining us. Claude was just in the studio.
Important question. Is Averta the new circular? I don't know. It might be. You know, it has the right qualities.
I don't know, Claude. Maybe you can answer that. Claude had some ideas on what the design trends in 2019 would be.
Oh, really?
So maybe we can tackle that at some point. But if you have some thoughts on what you think, we'd love to hear.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer right away.
I would love to like also hear what he had to say about it.
I think he thought that depth was going to be adding depth to designs was going to be a big trend. Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of like 3D illustrations, kind of like Weno. They did a really cool site for their careers page, and they did this entire experience. I don't know if you saw it, but they had like a treehouse theme or something like that, and they made like the people that work at the company into like these like 3D illustrations, and you could interact with them, and it was almost like a video game. You can just go talk to them, and it was such a cool thing.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I want to see that now. Maybe I'll check it out later.
So yeah, I think that could be potentially a trend because I've been noticing that other places too.
Cool.
Yeah. And the last thing that, sorry,
go ahead.
Yeah, last thing I wanted to touch on was the symbols that I have created here. So I have pretty simple ones so far. I know in the previous live stream we were talking about UI kits, so I have used the iOS UI kit to get simple things like the status bar and just making your design feel a little bit more real. And I have custom symbols here so you can see the activities that we will incorporate into the UI later on. And then a couple icons. So that's kind of where we're sitting on the assets panel.
How long would you say it took you to set up in advance all of these assets?
Actually not
bad?
very long. It wasn't bad. I think the more tedious part of it was the character styles, just because you have to go in and kind of adjust the spacing and like the tracking and make sure that it visually looks right.
I see.
And we might have to do some adjusting later on, but that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's part of design.
Yeah, so that's what we have going on here. I really like that you can just toggle and make it, list or grid.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
Visually, that just makes a lot of sense to me.
We had somebody ask earlier, and I forgot to ask you. They were curious how long you've been a designer for.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I've been designing for 6 years. So it's been a while. I actually started in the fashion industry. I went to the Fashion Institute. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a smaller like private school in LA. And that's kind of where I started my career. I worked for BCBG, which is just a higher end fashion brand. And then from there, I kind of just moved on to agencies. So I started in the social media agencies, and then eventually I ended up at UX UI agencies. And then from there, I really started to love product design, which is kind of how I got to where I am.
Cool.
today.
I love hearing the story of designers, because rarely is it just like a linear path.
Oh no.
You sort of like bounce all around and figure out what you like and start applying it.
Yeah, and I mean, back in the day, UX UI was not really something that you can go to school for. So how most of us got into UX UI, it's been a rocky road.
Yeah, it's cool, and it should be encouraging for anyone watching that might be self-taught or in a completely different space and they're interested in learning UI UX design, because obviously it's something that you can learn. There's resources out there. Anna's doing it right now. We're teaching you how to use the program, but also how to think about designs and how to design for interactions. So yeah, you can totally do it.
Absolutely, and I think one of the coolest parts about UX UI is that there's just so many more tools now. There's a lot of e-learning courses that you can take. There's a ton of workshops if you just Google it. So getting into UX UI doesn't seem as scary and overwhelming as it used to be.
Yeah, it's been legitimized more and more. Although there still are a lot of companies that don't have a UI UX designer.
I know,
which to me is really interesting.
Yeah.
They're coming around, and I think it's becoming a more legitimized career field and actually a very fast-growing one. So
yeah, totally.
Cool. Thanks for answering that. I know it took you away from your designs, but
no problem. So I typically like to start with some inspiration, and from the fitness apps that I've been looking at, one of the coolest apps that I was looking at was the Peloton app. And if you guys are familiar, they do have like an actual physical bike, and they also have an app. So they have a spinning bike and they have the app that kind of comes with it. And in the app, what's really cool is like I found the iconography was just so pretty, and it was like so custom. And I designed something that was, kind of similar, but like still like that vibe of like it feels custom.
Yeah, someone was wondering if you made those icons.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the tips that I have for you. Like, there's a lot of resources out there. Let's say you are trying to build a prototype and you're in the wireframing stages and you just want to like do something and get it out there quickly. There's Creative Market, a lot of places where you can actually like contribute to like a designer, and it's usually like very smaller like fees, and then you get a kit with like, in this case, iconography, which this is like just super cool, and I can use for like my wireframes. And then if I need to adjust this, you always get access to the Illustrator file.
Right. And what's really cool in the most recent update is you before could always, well, for a while now, you've been able to copy and paste vector into XD, and now you can actually copy and paste from XD to Illustrator, so it's a two-way street, and the two programs communicate to each other very effectively. So if you're into Illustrator and you're into creating symbols and icons, it's something that's very feasible between the two programs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and what's super amazing is when you copy and paste it into XD, it preserves all of its qualities. So I can always come back here and edit it from here, which I think it's like the coolest thing. So you can always like give it some color or adjust like the paths. So
cool.
In this particular case, I do have it created as a symbol, so I don't really need to do that, but you can also link it to Illustrator. So let's say I create changes here, and you can always update it in XD.
Yeah, totally.
Which I love.
Yeah, libraries and assets.
Yeah. Okay.
We had some. Go ahead. I'm gonna look back. We had some questions. I'll just answer a question as you start designing. There was a question about, other than today's challenge, if there's a daily XD challenge that people can subscribe to, and the answer unequivocally is yes. Right now we're doing a Photoshop daily challenge, but actually next week we'll be starting a 2-week series of XD daily creative challenges. If you're interested in those, you can find out information on the XD Slack channel. Or you can just stay tuned for more information. It'll be coming out throughout this week, and you'll be able to register on Sunday or Monday. At Sunday this week or Monday next week.
Cool. So speaking of icons, I have prepared like this little folder with a ton of icons. So that's another huge tip. Like before you start designing anything, just know that there's going to be a lot of like prep beforehand, and a lot of it has to do with like just realizing that you will need smaller icons like an adding or like a removing, things like that. So do all of that work beforehand and make sure that you have all of your icons all cleaned up, SVG, and exported, so you can go ahead and like just drop them into your file, and you don't have to like really worry about like spending, because I've done this in the past. Like you start designing, you're like, oh snap, I need a camera icon. You go and like start to create it, you spend a lot of time, you're like, now I need inspiration. Now you spend like an hour looking for inspiration, and that back and forth really becomes disruptive to your flow.
Totally.
So in this case, if you have it ready, you can just...
Yeah, it seems like for you and for a lot of designers, what you're showing is if you're able to set up a system and have your assets together, you're removing all of those barriers and areas of friction, so that the only thing stopping you from completing a good design is just sitting down and working on it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be taking all these breaks to like put together the components.
Yeah, and I'm just going to turn this into a symbol. I'm going to do Command K if you are on a Mac computer. And let's see, what I like to do first is kind of like look at the screen that I have and basically look at what I'm going to need. So right now I noticed I'm going to need that little icon. And then we have copy, so I think we're good to go. I've kind of hinted at the style of form that I'm going to be doing, but if you guys have ideas, I feel like form fields are one of those things that typically look the same, and that's fine because I know it's like a cool pattern, and like, I mean, a pattern that's like typically used for everything, but I'm always interested in, I've seen other designers use really like innovative ways of like introducing, let's say, like password requirements. So I'm always interested in like ideas for that.
I think that's an interesting sort of field too, because we'll get to this in a second. We now have fireworks, which means it's chat and win time. And if you're just tuning in for the first time and you don't know what that is, it's really simple. All you need to do is log in on behance.net/live, say hi. If you're active in chat, you're entered in for a chance to win a Moo notebook. So now you probably have a minute, maybe 2 minutes to log in and do so. Just go ahead and say hi to us in chat. We can ask them a question if we want. We don't have to.
Yeah, where are you guys coming from?
Cool.
I would love to hear that.
Awesome. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Let's see where everyone's tuning in from. We've got lots of highs and hellos and woos and meows and moos. We've got someone from Mexico,
Hi.
Chicago, California, Utah, Australia. Couldn't tell, it was really fast. We got someone saying hi to GusBot.
Oh
Hi
my
right back to
God.
you. Porto Alegre,
Israel, Morocco.
whoa, Missouri, Austin, Quebec. Or I should say Quebec. San
Hey,
Diego,
Anna.
Texas, Barcelona, Ohio,
Quebec.
Morocco, Canada. Someone from Moo, another person from Moo. Oh wait, never mind. Portland, Canada, Brazil. All right, our winner is, if you would like to announce the name, you're welcome to.
Okay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this. Nick Ray Design.
Nick Ray Design, congratulations. We will contact you on Behance via direct message very shortly with some information on how you can claim your free notebook from moo.com. And for everybody that didn't win, if you go to moo.com/Adobe Live, you'll actually receive 15% off your order, just as a simple thanks for being here and thanks for watching Adobe Live. So feel free to do that. If you want to try another chance at winning a new notebook, you can come back again in the next stream with Michael. We'll be giving away one more, so stick around.
Amazing. Okay, great. So back to it. Okay, so another thing that I always I'm interested in learning about from other designers is places for inspiration. You know, we have our typical, the usual suspects like Behance, there's Dribble. Are there any other cool places that I am missing out on? Let me know.
Yeah, let us know. And the thought I had on this is really interesting is when you're doing the form fields or things that people have a preconceived notion of how they should look and how they should function. It feels to me like you can only modify them so much without confusing people.
Yeah.
But you still want to be innovative and engaging.
Yeah.
So there's this fine line to walk a little bit.
Yeah, and one of the things, I think the reason why I bring it up is the password validation or the password requirements.
Sorry, we just wanted to play the fireworks again.
Yay! Passwords are important, people. That's one of those things that can make your form extra long, and it's something that I'm kind of trying to work on at work. And in one of my projects, it's building out the password requirements, but not having them take up the entire space. And I've seen people do, smaller hints right underneath the field, which I think it's super elegant and it's really, really awesome. So
when you're exploring options like that, do you typically create a bunch of designs and then other designers weigh in on them, or what does the exploration process look like?
Yeah, fortunately I have a really solid group of friends that are all designers, and we're typically really good about just sharing our work and getting feedback. And I would say that's one of the places where I tend to rely the most on. So yeah, it's always nice to have a crew.
Well, we're going to be giving feedback later in the stream on your designs. And I think, like you were mentioning, I think that it's a really good skill in terms of learning how to share your work for feedback and how to receive feedback.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a part of becoming a better designer.
Yeah.
It's a good practice ground. So if you're watching and you want some feedback and you want to share a design with us, check out the challenge tab. It's right above chat. You can create something, share it with us. In this case, it's a one-page homepage for an e-commerce mobile app. We'll give you feedback, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win a year subscription to Creative Cloud. So it's a pretty good deal.
It is. Okay. So I'm just gonna start playing. What I typically do when I do visual design is just start playing with a bunch of colors and see how the background starts to look. And sometimes it becomes too heavy, and you're oh, that's not my intention. But you always want to try it and see, at least in a couple of screens, and see how that's working. So
for a quick little test, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. And mind you, when you work on a longer project, this part of it come so far down the line. I feel like, you know, for the sake of like this app being so small, it's always like nice to be able to dive into it like right away and like really quickly. So one of the things I noticed right now is that I need to change this symbol into the white version of it. And what's really neat is that I can just drag and drop it and replace it.
Whoa.
I know.
That's sweet.
And it is the coolest thing. Like it
I've
just
never done
replaced
that before.
Yeah. Another thing that I think it's like super awesome, it's like, let's say I want to grab this particular element and let's say I didn't have it here or here. If I just grab this and like try to, for some reason I can't grab it, okay. And try to paste it in multiple artboards, it will always place it where it belongs.
Awesome.
So rather than it being like at a random place.
Yeah, there's some really smart logic built into this program.
Yeah.
And for me, the auto animate stuff it always blows my mind, because if you like meet the logic for it, it will just animate things for you, and you don't have to mess with keyframes.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to mess with anything. You just connect two artboards and you just change the position, and then it just interprets what the animation needs to look like. Which is really neat.
It is really neat. So right now, what I wanted to share with you is I used the repeat grid to create this ellipse or circle shape. And for this particular screen, I'm gonna come back to the forms in a little while, but I have a set of organization logos.
Cool. And these are things that standardize, like you can use them on any project? Or...
Yeah,
oh, I see what you mean. Cool.
I just have like all of these
nice.
Organizations.
Did you get these from their press kits or something?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and what I did was just resize them so they were all the same size. So they're 400 by 400.
Shout out to Girls Who Code. Adobe does a camp with them, and I think they've done some work
so
with us.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've been listening to some really cool podcasts on like how people start their companies, and I mean that particular organization is just doing so much good stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have Nick Ray, who won the, I don't know if this is because you won or not, but says that you're his favorite designer.
Thank you.
So you now have a big fan.
Yay!
Lorjan, thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a great night. And hello to Kathleen in chat. Girls Who Code, yeah. She also had a unique pronunciation for Moo Notebook. It was like Mao Naup. Something like that.
That's awesome. I'm always like super impressed about like how people can kind of express their personality through text.
Oh, right.
I rely too heavily on emojis. I'm that person. If I don't write an emoji, it's typically like it shows my mood.
we actually don't have native emojis in our chat, and I think part of it is to encourage people to get creative.
Yeah,
and show their personality
I can see that.
through what they say.
Super cool.
Yeah. We got Ritambara joining from Seattle. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
And if you're just joining in, maybe now's a good time to just catch them up to speed. We're about 40 minutes into the stream, but it's not too late.
Totally.
Anna's been working on a mobile app for mixing fitness with fundraising. We're taking name ideas, so if you have name ideas, share them with us. We'd love to hear them. And then you can kind of catch them up to speed on where you're at. Yeah,
totally. So far we've talked about all of the assets and how to prep for your workflow. Another thing that I've been talking about a lot is like the importance of the fidelity of your wireframes. I know like later on in the app design you will see my wireframes get really, really abstract, and that's just because I was trying to plan more of like conceptually what the app would become, but at the beginning I kind of wanted to give it more fidelity just to talk through more like the details and like fine-tune those. So that's kind of where we're at, and right now we're building the onboarding experience. So if you're with us, you'll see how cool this is like right now. Right.
Yeah, so, we're about to do some magic, right?
We're about to do some magic. I have prepared my logos, and they're all sized to be 400 by 400 pixels. And I have a repeat grid up here. So what I'm gonna do is take all of these and drop them in the first one, and boom. What?
That's just weird.
You know? What is this? This is magic. And what I like to do is, you know, as you can see,
Are we in the future?
I think we are.
I think we're in the future.
I think this is 2019.
Welcome to the future, everyone.
Yeah.
I remember growing up when, and like, I don't know, it was like before 2000, it was like, this is our 2020 vision.
Oh, yeah.
For like 2020.
And we're there.
And we're here, we're in the future.
Welcome.
And now we're old.
Years older.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But super cool feature too, like if let's say I want to add a shadow, I just added a shadow to literally one of them and it applied it to everything else. And you can always like adjust that if you think that shadow is too heavy, and it will just do it in all of the...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can even change the color of the shadow if you want.
Yeah, which that's cool. What I was going to touch on. I've been really liking like to use like lighter grays instead of like a black to do like shadows. So what I will do is like I have this gray here and I will just tone it down a little bit, and it just kind of adds a little bit of coolness to it with like just being super subtle too. So as you can see that it was like super easy, and now I have like all my logos in there. So one of the things I wanted to work on a little bit more was the buttons. And there's, you know, how much roundness is right.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
This is always a debate. Well, and drop shadows are a debate too. Like
drop shadows,
there's
definitely.
people, no drop shadows,
I know.
yes drop shadows.
Been seeing less and less of them, which is great. I do still like.
I think they're cool,
Yeah.
but I don't think they need to be too deep. I think sometimes people will like, boom, drop
overdo
shadow.
them, yeah.
And you feel like, oh man.
I know, and when they take a while to render and you're like, oh my god, what?
Yeah. But I think what you've done, these subtle drop shadows are really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about button roundness.
Let's talk about buttons. So buttons
Let's talk about that.
Are just, and I come from like this place where I'm trying to build out the design system at work, and buttons is probably the hardest component. Please, if you're building a design system, please tell me if you find this like the hardest thing to do. But I find like when you have a product built out and you have so many different types of buttons, it's so difficult to kind of come to like an agreement of like how many should you have, and like if you have some, like what is the right style, and like they are so like you see them so frequently in UI that like it almost like marks your brand. So
totally, yeah. We have Ryan says subtle roundness is what.
Subtle roundness, yeah. Right now I have like a 4 pixel radius on all the borders.
I'd say that's pretty subtle.
Yeah, so I think I like that.
We also had an interesting idea around what about typography in logos? Like, do you have an opinion on using all capitalized letters versus sentence case, or all lowercase?
In logos?
Or even like in a button, sorry. Like you have here get started, capitalized G, capitalized S. Yeah,
so one of the things that I've been really interested in lately is web accessibility. And it's very interesting, but like I was doing some reading on like specifically that, like all caps versus, you know, regular case. And it is easier for a lot of people to kind of understand visually the letters that are, you know, just lowercase rather than like all caps.
I see.
Because you can, your brain understands this shape much quicker than you would be able to if they're all kind of like the same height and the same width. So
that's a great tip.
Yeah.
So sentence case would be something that you probably use a little more.
That's what I would recommend, absolutely. Cool. And yeah, if you're kind of like interested in like the accessibility part of it, there's like a lot of really great articles out there about it. But yeah, so
I think it's, for me, UX and UI design is so cool because unlike, well, in a lot of areas of design it's like this, but especially in this field, you're designing for people to use it. And so you have to always be thinking, is this usable? How would it be used? What is the accessibility like? And you have to test it, and you have to go back and adjust it. And I just feel like that aspect, the human aspect of this field, is really super interesting. Yeah, it really is. And I think it really speaks to like the empathy that we all talk about. Most of the time being a designer, you're like, oh yeah, empathy is at the top, you know, of my priorities. And accessibility is such a big part of it. And most of the times
designers don't really account for it. So I'm trying to like be more mindful about that, and like, you know, at Classy, it's something that's been kind of.
And I was even thinking maybe even the size of the button is an homage to that. Like sometimes in apps there'll be really tiny buttons. They're like in the top corner or something. And I've like just watched my parents who aren't super tech savvy try to use apps that rely on a deeper knowledge base of tech skills. And they try and click on these little buttons or type in a small form field, and they just can't do it very well.
And it's tough because most people that are like older, they like to just have the text really, really big on their phone screens. So that completely changes your UI. So that's something that, I mean, I feel like I need to get better at it personally, like just testing for like different text sizes and like how that affects the UI.
Or even in an advanced state of this design, there might be alternate settings for accessibility. So
absolutely.
You know, just in the native iOS settings, you can do that. Maybe there's settings in an app too where you can.
Actually, I'm interested. There's some plugins out there, but I'm interested in seeing if there's any contrast ratio checkers.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So, I just saw Stark. Stark is really cool.
Hey JR, thanks for joining us. Mavlon, we got Abdul, Ryan, Ashy, nice to see you. Jeff, Clarence, thanks for joining us.
I see Claude is like doing
some. Oh yeah, Claude's got a great article for us.
Got me. That's an article that I just recently wrote about accessibility.
Awesome, check out that article.
Check it out.
That is
super
cool.
Let me know what you think.
Claude also threw his hat in the ring for the rounded versus squared debate, and he says 100% rounded. So.
Yeah, he's very into like, that's like
he's forecasting the 2019 design trends right now.
Okay, so I was able to get that plugin, which I really want to show and give it a try. So the way that plugin works is you have text and you have a background, typically. And what you do is, this is like the coolest thing, it has simulations. So you can see this from like different types of like visual impairments.
Oh, that's so cool.
And you can see how your design is, you know, being seen by someone else. So you can see, okay, maybe like that's the appropriate contrast or not. And if you're not entirely sure, you go ahead and do check contrast. Now, this is a really broad topic, how to check contrast and which guidelines you should be using. If you take a look at the article, it covers some of that. But what I did want to say is this tool in particular checks for two guidelines.
Oh, cool.
It's like
or
like standards, I guess. AA and AAA. So that's kind of like your silver and gold standards.
Okay.
And
so would AA be less stringent than AAA in terms of getting the contrast right? Is
AA. So I think the main difference is like the flexibility that you can get between them. So if you think about AA, there's maybe like Airbnb would be a good example. I think they aim to AA where it's still branded and it's still kind of pretty within their brand guidelines, versus AAA that's more like government agencies.
Oh, I see.
That it's like a lot more like blue and white, and it's very like, you know.
Cool. And Stark is a plugin for XD that you had just shared? Yeah, so Diego, thanks for sharing that link. You also, in Adobe XD, can just hit Discover Plugins. And you can find all sorts of plugins. If you like to write plugins, you can actually create plugins for XD and submit them to the XD team, and then they'll be discoverable in the plugins menu. So there's a lot of possibility there. Check that out.
Totally. Okay, so I'm going to test this and see if we're actually like going to be... Okay, so as you can see here, it passes AA but not AAA, which to me right now it's fine since I'm just gonna do AA. So that's just an example of how you would kind of test for that.
Yeah, that's really neat.
So, okay. What color do you guys think the buttons should be? To be honest, I feel like maybe this blue that I'm using in the headers it's probably a little bit heavy, but I don't know.
All right,
It's
let us know
almost
if you
too
have any
dark.
color opinions.
Yeah.
I feel like if you went too light, your contrast, right? You might
Yeah.
not pass your AA.
It will
I don't
not.
know though.
No, it will not pass if it's like a lighter gray.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like so Claude 2 years ago.
That's so Claude right now.
Yeah.
He's
Little
going throwback
hint
Claude.
of pink. Here we go.
Oh, I forgot to mention, but Rocky Rourke is also in the chat.
Hi, Rocky.
Rocky, we were looking at your artwork
I
just
know.
earlier. So
It's really,
it's
really
good to see
cool.
you. The guy in the game Crazy Taxi is named Gus. You learn something new every day. Thanks for letting me know, Clarence.
Yay.
Fun fact, I'm the guy from Crazy Taxi. Hi, Keita. I think I already said hi to you.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is, okay, he said something.
All right, we got it. I actually kind of like the black for the background and the blue-purple for the button.
Yeah, that might be a good call.
Or we could do like gradients on everything.
Gradients on gradients.
Yeah, just all gradients.
Because why not?
Yeah, gradients and 100% rounded.
Yeah. What I'm actually,
Hijack your design.
actually, Gus takes over. Here we go.
You don't want that. I'm many things, but I'm not a designer.
Well, there's like that thing going around, like, is everyone a designer? I don't know.
Well, we could find out.
I
And
have
I think I know the answer.
I have opinions. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this into a symbol just because I know we're probably gonna be changing. People have opinions about gradients.
Yeah. Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
Right, Rocky?
So I'm just gonna place the button, and since it's now a symbol, I can just change it later on, and it will just change everywhere. So
Cool.
we don't have to decide right now, which is a super cool thing. Okay, so here's kind of what's happening here, that I was implying that we need a little modal at this point. And that is just so you know, let's say I tap on one of these nonprofits and I want to learn more about them before kind of like getting started with them. So then we're going to use a little,
Cool.
yeah.
And that's just like an overlay?
Yeah, so what I've done here is just drew a shape, a rectangle, lower the opacity on the black so that you kind of get that sense that it's a modal. Have this shape here. I'm going to give it a border radius, maybe 8. I don't know, for modals, I have been really liking just like rounder edges,
Yeah.
maybe even like 30. We'll
I think
see.
it works with the circles.
Yeah. And then I'll just probably make this a little bit wider.
But again, I'm not a designer, so you make your own decisions.
No, I like feedback.
Cool.
Need feedback.
Rocky says the hardest thing is when a client loves gradients. You got to try and work with them, and at least for him on his illustrations.
Yep.
But you know.
And it's so interesting because as designers, we are used to just looking into the future, right? And being like very good about making those recommendations. But when people are used to like seeing gradients, and now it's kind of become thing of the past, let's say, and that's all they want to see, you're like, oh, well, that's what you want.
Yeah. Do you ever find it difficult? Like, let's say you're in a situation where a client really wants gradients and you have a gradient version, but you also have a version that you like more, that you're partial to, that you feel like is cleaner. Do you ever feel the need to like try and steer them towards?
Yes, that happens frequently. And I think, yeah, I think it's important, and it's your kind of like responsibility as a designer to like give the best recommendation that you possibly can give. And at the end of the day, I mean, it is their brand, and sometimes you just have to pick your battles and be like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you know, I can win this one.
It's tough as a designer, especially if the work is being, like, you're creating it for a client, but then it's also known as your design. Like, it's their brand, but they'll know Ana Medina did this design.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, you're also representing yourself publicly.
Yeah.
And it would be hard if your client really wants things that you're not into.
Oh my gosh, I
which
know.
I'm sure is a struggle for most designers.
And it is, ooh, why I just did that. There's this really good talk with Mike Montero, if you guys are familiar. This is one of the people that Claude introduced me to, and he has this concept of like, you are not your design. You're not your work, and your work is not you, which is basically what he's saying. And I think it's very true, and I think it's very important for us to remember that, because yes, we are kind of like guided by, you know, many times like aesthetics or like functionality and things like that, but it's also important to remember that you are not defined by the output, because many times it's kind of outside of your control.
It kind of rolls back into the discussion of feedback too. If you have a perspective where you're not defined by your work and somebody gives you feedback that is negative, maybe it's still constructive, but it says you need to change things, you're more likely to take it less personal, which I think is really important in terms of growing as a designer. Yeah. But it is also important to learn how to give feedback. Yeah. And learning how to say things the right way so that you're not really hurting people.
Yeah, and if you're working with a team, like encouraging critiques and encouraging everyone to like contribute to the process really, really helps. It kind of also helps people empathize a little bit more with your process, and just knowing that, you know, you are not taking decisions on your own, and, you know, things don't happen in this little bubble. So it's kind of good to keep in mind. All right.
JR is wondering if you have any resources that you would advise for them to learn minimalistic designs.
Any resources?
Do you have any inspirations in that area, or do you feel like that's even like something that's a priority for you?
So typically, I would say I tend to go to the usual sites like Dribbble and Behance for more of like visual design. I would say most of like the design work is like inspired by like functionality. So I'm a huge fan of just like making sure that everything that you have in the screen is 100% like it has a function and it has a purpose. And I think that itself kind of guides the minimalism of your design. So it's not something that you can start from visual design and work into your user experience. Like, it has to come from your user experience and then kind of be translated into the visual design. So to me, that's almost like if you're following a process in which you're being really mindful about every single thing that you're adding to your UI, you will likely end up with something that's really minimal in nature.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. And it's sort of applicable to almost any field, even in terms of writing, right? Like, if you write a lot, you gotta really think about your sentences in terms of what is adding something and what's unnecessary. Yep. And if you do so, you'll probably end up having things that are a little bit easier to digest for people. Yeah. We have Jennifer Alt in chat. Thanks for joining us. Jennifer was live with us in February, Jennifer. At the end of February.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I saw her.
Yeah, she was awesome. Cool. All-star. And Ritambara is wondering, so Ritambara says, "Hi Anna, I'm from a fashion background also, and I started doing graphic design after my courses. I'm now trying to get into UI and UX design. Can you give me some tips? Thanks."
Oh yeah, that was exactly where I was at. So I think you're gonna hear this probably a lot throughout your career, but a lot of it takes like a lot of practice, and many times at the beginning you won't have a portfolio to show people and like to actually show that you can do it. But I think what was really helpful for me was to like come up with projects that I was just redesigning someone else's app and like figuring out places where you could make it better, or like trying to figure out an app idea that you would really like to do and make sure that you kind of like design that and explain your process thoroughly. I think that's kind of like one of the pieces that will get your foot in the door, and many times that door won't be open. I've definitely, like when I first started, was like I was rejected from a couple places, and that part of it is like really painful, but it doesn't mean that's the end. And for me, what was helpful was that whenever I was getting that rejection, I was like, okay, what do you see in my portfolio that I could be improving? Or like, what is something that you're looking for that you're currently not finding? And I did that at a couple places, and it was amazing because most people are really willing to tell you how you can get better. and then you work on it and you iterate and you come back, and maybe that second time it's not even good, but the third time maybe it is. So to me, it was a lot of that, a lot of like failing and repeating, and like honestly like learning from the hardest people. I've worked with incredibly talented designers, and being really open to that feedback, and especially when you're early on, was incredible. I've learned so much from them.
Yeah, I just want to build off that really quickly. The idea of showing initiative, I think, is like really important when you're trying to get into a new field. Showing initiative, trying things out, creating projects, even if they're passion projects, redesigning apps, and then, like you said, sharing your process.
Yep.
Like most people will hire designers based off of the process that they're able to demonstrate, not necessarily the visual designs they see. I mean, that's a component of it, but like, I want to know what your process is. I want to know how you approach a design problem, and I want to know how you solved it.
Yes.
And I think if you can explain that in your portfolio or in the projects, even your personal projects, you're going to really set yourself above other people.
Yeah. And I mean, Adobe has creative jams around like the US, and I went to a bunch of them, and through them I was able to meet a lot of people that reviewed my portfolio, which is always awesome. And then later on in life you like find them and you become friends with them, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the community is really important. Real quick, Vitor, yes, you can copy assets between XD files.
Between XD files?
I think you can, correct?
Yes, you can. Yeah. So just to give you a quick example of something that I did over here, I downloaded one of the UI kits from, and I just did that directly from File, Get UI Kits, and I clicked here to get the iOS one. So I downloaded this. And when you go to the UI elements, this is an XD file, as you can see here. So you open this file, and this is made up of purely symbols.
Awesome.
So let's say I want this one in my other file. I can go ahead and just copy it, and it does it.
Super easy.
Yeah, and since it was a symbol, you can see here that it's now linked to the other file. So if I make any changes in the other file, it will change here. It will update here.
And the really cool part about that is if, let's say you're, like she's done, if you're building an app, you can have all of your symbols in one file that you can edit them in, and then you can do linked symbols to have them all in your, like in your prototype or whatever you want it in, and then you can use that repository to edit and adjust things without having to go in each individual asset in your prototype file.
And what's really cool too is if you're building a design system, you can always have that library, and let's say you are the person that's keeping the design system, or you're building it and you're giving it to your team. That's one of the cool things, that if I make any changes to that file, everyone can get it, and we make sure that the designs are
it's definitely consistent. More collaborative, I think. And that's definitely, and the XD team has made this clear, that's the direction they want to go in this year, is making designs more collaborative. So look out for more of that coming soon, I'm sure. Osama, thanks for joining us. It's awesome to see you, as always.
Okay, I'm gonna go into Charity Water and their website, because I want to give them a little description. So let's see here. Okay.
Rocky followed up on your comment about becoming a better designer, entering the field just in terms of practice. A lot. Yeah. Just keep practicing.
And in the case of Rocky, he has done so great with like networking and in social media. He has done an incredible job kind of like building his own audience. And like, I think that is something that if you have like the passion for it and you have like the confidence to do it, like definitely give it a chance. Yeah. It's something that you have to be like really confident about, and people will take it and, learn from it too.
Yeah, totally. All right. So far, nobody shared designs with us yet. I want to see at least 5. So if you're still working on a design for the challenge, and you still need more time, that's okay. You can share it with us. We'll give you feedback on it, and then you can keep working on it and share it again in the next stream if you want. But I would love some designs to review, so check out the challenge tab above chat. You have 24 minutes left to share it with us so that we can take a look at it.
All right. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take their mission and just use it for the app here. So this will be kind of a little snippet of information that you will get to read before, you know, getting started with this as your nonprofit of choice. Okay, so this is another trick. I've used a character style, but I've noticed, you know, I've left aligned everything and I need it to be center aligned. So what I will be doing is create a brand new character style for it. So I'm gonna be adjusting my text here just slightly. And then another cool thing is that it kind of gives you spell check real time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is pretty awesome. So, okay, I have this character style, 14 point regular center aligned, and I'm gonna add it. Did it add it? Oh, I wasn't selecting it.
There we go. Oh, it's grayed out for some reason. Thanks for joining us, Vanya. Hope you have a great evening. Got Paul Weaver in the chat. Great to see you, Paul, as always. We got Rocky blushing. And Miko, I don't think we have immediate plans to have live architecture, but it's something that we could explore in the future, so thanks for sharing your idea. If anyone's watching and you have ideas for the live streams or topics, you can always message us on the Adobe Live Behance account. I'm the person that reads them. I would love to hear what you think, so feel free to say hi to me there.
That'd be interesting to do, like an architecture, like UX, like deep UX. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Okay, so now what I think I need is 2 buttons. I'm thinking something where you can say, okay, yes, I want to proceed and like use this as my organization of choice, or not, basically. So I'm gonna create those 2 buttons.
Hi Rins, thanks for joining us. If you're just joining, we're live with Anna. She's creating a mobile app for fitness and for charities and bringing them together. So if you have a question, just let us know. We'd be happy to answer it. And if you have an idea for an app name, also let us know, because we're still looking for one.
Yeah, there's been some good ones so far.
And Val, let me know in chat if you were keeping track of the ones that have been shared so far. If not, then I can send some to you.
Yep. I think it's okay. That looks centered. Very good. Okay, so I would like to say something that's kind of like exciting, not just like start. So what do you guys think?
It would be funny if the phrase was dynamic depending on the charity. So like since this one is water, maybe it's something like something water related, and then if it, I don't know, like, this would get really complex, but it might be fun.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, okay, if you guys think of something, let me know.
Give us some water puns. And don't say water those.
Water those.
App names for fitness, that's right, Keita. It's fitness and charity. So the ones we have so far are Fit Fund. I can't remember all of them. I think
there was another good one, yeah.
Yeah, I can scroll up.
Oh, I see what happened here. So everything turned into center aligned.
Oh, I see.
So
Val says, what are those? Do you know that meme with the shoes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was coming. We need some water puns.
Water puns. Not very typical.
Maybe the cancel says H2 no. Oh no, that would be so bad.
Oh, that's better. Like it's nice subtle gray. You barely can see it now.
Perfect.
Okay. This is more like an implied. Okay, I'm gonna group this. All right. And I'm still like, sorry if I'm like going back and forth, but I think you have to kind of do that in design. Kind of like start creating, go back, make some adjustments, go forward, things like that. So that typically tends to work good for me.
Yeah, totally. I think that's a very natural design process.
Let's look at the steps.
Claude
here.
likes H2 no.
H2 no. Okay, so I actually didn't write any copy for the selecting your nonprofit, so this will be an interesting one. Oh, trying to ungroup. Ungroup. Okay, so this will be the nonprofit who get started with, or it's too long.
And this is why you use your real copy.
This is why you use
Right?
real copy. And, you know, most of us are not, you know, copywriters, but you try your best, and then usually someone else will, like, understand your intent and, like, fix it, like copywriters, which is really nice.
On this page, would they be able to select just one charity, or could they select multiple? Is it the idea of
Yeah.
just select one and then they would go down the path for that one charity?
Yeah, so I was thinking you would select one initially,
Cool.
and then you would see the detail of that one charity, and you can always look at the causes
Got
that
it.
they're kind of like, or their campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the next step that I have here, or let me actually fix this. See, I should be using symbols for this. Let's do that now. I'm going to turn this into a symbol with Command K.
Shortcuts are life.
They are.
That's awesome.
I mean, and I spent so much of my career not using them just because I don't know why, reasons.
Yeah, we just get in these habits, right?
Yeah.
They're hard to shake.
And now what I've done, and which is kind of like tricky, is I have created my own. Like for Illustrator and Photoshop, I have my own shortcuts, which makes it hard because if I, for whatever reason, end up using someone else's computer, I like use the wrong ones.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Or like as the right ones, but like
We have like a
custom.
studio Mac that sometimes people will use when they're live with us.
Yeah.
But that's always the thing I say is be careful. Like
I
you don't have
know.
your custom shortcuts, so maybe get it beforehand and play with it.
Yep.
Because everyone has very unique styles and processes and how they use these programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi Daniel, thanks for joining us. Ishmael, nice to see you. Jeff says philanthropit.
Philanthropit.
That's really good. Raise race.
That's great.
Raise race is good too.
Let me see. if
Sweat for profit.
Sweat for profit. Just what it is.
Yeah. What if we just call it gains? Getting gains.
Oh my gosh, gains. Gains on gains.
Yeah. Gains on gains on gains.
I don't know how I'm feeling about this header. It's like almost really overpowering.
It is, yeah. It's a bit
Yeah.
heavy.
It's really, really heavy. This is like design process at its finest. We'll come back to this in a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn it dark again. Okay, so another thing that I touched on earlier was the fact that it's typically pretty useful to have interactions in your prototype that are like as realistic as possible to the actual experience. Many times we will avoid adding these because we just think that, you know, oh, it's like a system triggered interaction, so the engineers are gonna know that. And many times they don't. You can't expect people to assume what your intent is. So if you are thinking this will trigger a native interaction, just add it to your prototype and just, you know, no questions asked. What I have here in my assets is a little artwork for this particular piece.
For that component where you have allow access to Apple Health app, is that an asset or something that you grabbed off of the internet, or did you
This
build
one
that?
here, I built it, yeah. So I just created this artwork, turned it into a symbol, and dropped it into here.
Nice.
I'm just gonna move this up here for reference because I'm gonna start using my symbols correctly. It's better to start sooner rather than later.
Totally. And like we said earlier, it's all about developing those habits. So
Absolutely.
kind of rely on them.
Yeah. It's very, one of the things that I really love is how simple, you know, it is to like grab all of the layers. Like back in the day when we were designing with Photoshop, because that was like the tool. Yeah. It was so hard to like find your layers and all of that, but now it makes it so, you know, layers are messy.
And you can open PSD files in XD now, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you have artboards made in Photoshop, you can bring them into XD.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Which is really convenient.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we have a lot of names. Val, if you don't mind making a straw poll, we can vote on it. And you have total veto power. So like if they pick one that you don't like, you can just say no thanks.
Okay.
But let's see what everyone thinks that the app should be named. Because we have about 13 minutes until the challenge deadline.
Ooh.
And we still need you to share those designs. Hannah shared one. Thanks for sharing it with us. I would love to see some more. So start finishing those up, or at least getting them to a place where you're ready to share them. We'll give them a review. If you want to continue working on them after that, you have until 2:30 p.m. Pacific time today to share your work. So it's not the final deadline of the day. But we would love to give feedback.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is copy this over it. So I'm just going to simulate that interaction is happening. And, okay. All right, so going back to the fields themselves. So I think for now what I'm going to do is just keep them, you know, very subtle. I'm going to use one of the grays here in my color palette, and I'm gonna use this as a symbol, as we've learned. Gonna remove this. We're gonna do okay. Do we have a lot of people from San Diego?
Of course, my internet goes out right when I'm trying to pull up designs.
No.
It's just the way it goes.
There's some more. Fit Trust, Race,
Yeah,
Philanthropit.
Really? I'm in the dark zone.
Oh no, Gus, come back.
Trying to get it. Come on, please work. That's how I get things to work. I just pray aggressively at it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it worked.
Typically, the internet gods are on your side.
Listened.
Yes.
No, I'm on Corp Network.
I'm wireless, that just worked.
Okay, I'm back on Corp too. I think everything had a pause there.
Yeah, that was weird.
Would you mind restarting the chat? Because it's not loading new chat messages.
Oh, what's happening here?
Sorry if you said something that lasts about 5 minutes. Our chat also was having internet issues, but we'll have it back in a second. NSA, greetings from Mexico. Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Greetings
hey.
from San Francisco. Osama says, I really like the header type.
Header type, yeah. So Averta.
Yeah, I
Such
think
a great-
Osama likes that. Oh, we have a straw poll. Good. Sorry, I'm getting caught up to speed right now.
Okay. So.
Hi, Andreas. Thanks for joining us from Germany. We're so excited to have you here.
I'm trying to do the same thing that I did earlier, and okay, because I'm changing my mind. I think it should be a lighter interface, maybe with pops of color. And that's starting to feel slightly better, I think. So we might include a little bit more. Maybe the button is different. Since I've kind of used this blue as a background color,
Yeah.
you might want to go back to the Claude style. Who
I like
knows?
the Claude style.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking making sure that whatever the color the button is a nice contrast to the the logos on the second artboard might be nice, so that
That's true.
it makes it really clear to the user, like after you select
What's the
one,
action?
yeah, get started.
Yep. And we also could deviate from the original palette, which is, ooh, green or kind of mint.
Ooh, I like that.
Kind of feels nice.
Dark green is my favorite color, so anything in that family is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, I've just always been partial to it.
I feel like I don't have a favorite color. I have like a passion for black and gray. But
Black and gray.
that's my outfit, and that's kind of,
It's pretty much what we're
Yeah.
both wearing for the most part.
yeah. It's usually safe.
All right, I've got the straw poll going.
It would be nice if someone wants to send a hex value. It'd be fun to just plug them in.
Yeah.
So that would be cool.
Yeah, if anyone is watching and has the ability to send us hex color of a button color that they would suggest,
Yeah.
we'll try it out.
Yes, we will. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna start building out what we're gonna call the dashboard view. Okay, so for this one, you can see I kind of hinted at what I wanted to do. So we are gonna give the organization or the nonprofit a little banner image. Their logo will go here. And then the causes. I hinted at the navigation, but that's kind of like still TBD. But I do have some assets to kind of start mocking up the dashboard view. So as you can see here, what I'm going to do is select this image and drop the picture back there. That was just very simple to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the logo. And we're doing charity water. Here we go.
Nice. So we have some hex codes coming in.
Oh, sweet.
We have lots of them. You can pick one to try out.
Perfect.
So we have
Oh, okay. So
we have 5, and maybe more that are coming in.
let's try some of those out. If you wanna.
Claude, you should look into that, the blob maker plugin for XD.
Blob maker.
It'd be interesting to make something similar in XD. So I don't really know by looking at hex color what's going to come up.
Yeah, it's kind of a.
It's kind of random in my mind. So
Okay.
we can try any of these out.
Let's see, Ryan Ford, 01718F.
18F.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
I like that.
It's kind of nice.
Do you want to try another one?
Yeah.
Let's try Rocky's.
Let's see, Rocky.
078 2F4. I wonder if they're just typing in random stuff.
Rocky, were you typing a random one?
I think they are. We're gonna
Don't lie.
hot pink like 7 times.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to try Jeff's?
Yeah, let's.
C95 B2F.
C95
B
B
2F.
2F. Oh,
Oh wow.
it's a completely different vibe. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like rusty. I don't know.
Yeah.
Burnt orangish. Alright, we got one from Keita.
Okay.
286
286.
78E.
That's neat.
That's really similar to Ryan's, I think, right?
Yeah, very, very similar. Okay. I think
Michael
Kinda.
Crabtree's trolling with the 0000000.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's eventually what I wanted to do.
Oh, that's
But
so funny.
that would be, I don't know, like I've been seeing like maybe ClassPass has like a really bright blue and like, you know, solid black CTAs, and I'm like, I kind of dig this, but I know for some people that's like too sad. I don't know.
No,
People
I
have
like
opinions.
it. There's a good contrast there. Your eyes drawn to it.
Yeah.
Rocky says he went to his personal color vault for that suggestion. Thank you, Rocky.
Thanks, Rocky. Oh, what about purple? Yeah, someone's saying purple.
Just a quick reminder, you have 4 minutes to share your designs with us. If you're curious how, you can find information on the challenge tab above chat All you have to do is create the homepage for an e-commerce mobile app, share it with us, we'll give you feedback, and you'll also enter yourself in to win, potentially, a year subscription to Creative Cloud. So far, Hannah's the only person to share, but in 4 minutes, I would love to see some more in there.
Share your stuff. Been talking about
We'll be
a
very
lot
nice.
about it. Yeah.
We won't be mean.
No. I think I'm gonna do a little description as far as like what you do here. So you will select a cause to donate funds. And then in the second step, you will be selecting the activity that you're gonna start.
Cool.
So
And
that's
this kind of
where-
goes into that transparency we were talking about
Yep.
a little earlier.
Yeah,
I
so
like that.
one of the important pieces of this app is I want it to be very explicit as far as like where your money is going. So let's say if you donate $30, you can provide water for, 2 families.
Mm-hmm.
Provide
In
water.
Dennis by homepage, it just means the landing page or the home navigation. It just can be a one-screen design, and there's actually a UI kit that's linked in the challenge tab. If you want to use that to get started, you can. You don't have to use it, but it might serve as a good example of what one might look like. People are thinking blue or aqua or purple would be cool.
Blue or
Still.
aqua.
I like
Yeah.
I like the black.
Like them black, and I do think though, if we want to make this exciting and fun, I guess I am with you. It might be a nice idea to have something friendly.
It's interesting because it also is like, I see a lot of times when apps deal with like finances and money and donations, they use these really clever green colors
Yeah,
because they're kind of like vibrant and energetic, and
yeah,
it makes you feel a little better about donating money
yeah, totally.
or even looking at your finances.
Yeah. Nothing inspires me to donate like a good, hungry-looking African child. Oh.
Rocky Rourke, a project week. Yes, we've done this. We called it Creative Campaign, and I think we've done it 3 times now, where we bring in one person in different fields, usually 3 or 4 fields, and then they all work on the same project and hand off
That's so
assets.
fun.
And it's something we're definitely interested in trying again sometime in the future. So we're on the same wavelength.
Super cool. Okay, so I'm gonna start creating these cards, and
Claude
Really?
says he's all in with black. It makes your beautiful illustrations and the charity logos stand out.
okay.
Sounds like Claude's playing roulette.
I know. Okay, so other details that you would probably want to see here. Let's see. I would like to hear actually from people if you've donated money to a charity or a nonprofit. What has been the one thing that has sold you on, okay, I'm gonna give to them. Many times they have really compelling videos. Many times they do really awesome campaigns with like really cool visuals. Like I would love to hear what has been the one thing that has compelled you to give.
Yeah, this is live user feedback or user testing. I don't know, what would you call it?
Yeah, I guess feedback.
Feedback?
Yeah.
Interviews?
Discovery, research.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to know, because we were talking about this earlier, and sometimes there's an approach where they try to make you feel bad a little bit to donate, and sometimes when you're checking out in line at aisles or at cash registers, they'll say, hey, do you want to donate an extra $1 to prevent something bad from happening? And then you think, oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
You kind of feel manipulated into it, though, so.
There's like a lot of dark patterns for that nowadays, where you go to websites and they're like, one of the options is like, yes, donate. And then, the other option is like, oh, no, thank you. And it's like, oh, great, you made me feel really bad about myself right now.
Yeah, totally. They make it hard to say no.
Yeah.
All right, we have a tie on the poll. And also, we have hit our challenge submission deadline. I'm going to give it an extra minute or two because I know there were a couple people who were exporting and trying to share their projects. So we'll go ahead and give you a couple more minutes before I go and look at what's in there. But I really hope we have some good designs to review. If you weren't able to share it and you're still interested in participating, go ahead and share it again in the next stream. They'll give more reviews and you'll have a chance still to win Creative Cloud.
Let's see.
All right. Mackerel says knowing how much money or percent ends up at the actual cause, or how much money or percent stays with the company or process is helpful. So if there's transparency in terms of, even in this, like donate $30 to provide to families with water, it would be interesting if it said donate $30, like $26 is going to go directly to a family and $4 is going to cover the costs of this service, so that people know, okay, I'm getting a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
Might be nice.
It's a pretty good point. And in the concept of this app, there's like this idea where a company is sponsoring your workout. So let's say a big corporation like Adobe decides to sponsor your run. So then they would be basically taking care of the donation plus any fees that might be like transaction fees or things like that. So you do the activity and a corporation typically would sponsor you. And in the future, it would be cool if an app like this, allowed you to have other members of your family or even friends kind of sponsor you as well. So let's say you're my good friend and I'm like, Gus, I'm going to do this run.
I'm a good friend.
Yeah. And could she sponsor me?
Yeah.
That would be cool too.
And then if you don't, I'll be really sad.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay.
If I'm running, I can't make it, then we'll see about that. I'm not a great runner.
Claude's talking about his full Cali days.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I never really knew the full Cali, full Claude.
If Claude could share, and this is a challenge, if he could share his full Cali Photoshop, it is the funniest thing.
Claude, put it on your Behance.
Please do. At one point, we were making fun of like his lifestyle and like how he wanted to be full Cali, and he was gonna bleach his hair because he was gonna be in the water all the time surfing. And he made this Photoshop, and he's like a surfer dude with like great like bleached hair. And we printed that out, and it was like in the bathroom.
Oh, it's so good.
And it was like, not only was it in the bathroom, but he decided to like autograph it. So now it looked like this like, legit like surfer
we're gonna
dude.
print that out and put it in the studio.
I know, if he could sign it again, that would be
Full
awesome.
Cali Claude.
Cali Claude.
So we actually have a tie right now. If you want to, actually, you know what? We'll look at the designs first, because I think
Let's do
I'm gonna
it.
start pulling them up, and then after that, we'll go ahead and look at the straw poll results.
Okay.
So I have one more to pull up. Also, thanks for sharing. We had 3. You almost hit the goal of 5.
Yay.
I'm proud of you. And in the next stream, try to share 5. That would be awesome. Okay.
Oh, he did share it. We'll take a look at that later.
Oh, Claude's got it.
Yeah.
That was quick. It's
That
like he
was
had that
quick.
bookmark.
He's like,
He's
oh,
like,
I got you.
Oh, wow. Full Cali Claude, that's my life. All right. Let's take a look at the designs. The first one shared by us. This is in no particular order. This one's by Dennis. It looks like Dennis has shared more or less a screenshot
Nice.
of what they've been creating. And just so you know, just pro tip, if you want to, like in this case, you could potentially share a live prototype link, similar to what these users have done, and then that allows us actually to click through them if there's more than one screen. So this would be an example, so I can actually
Oh, nice.
kind of see the way it looks. So Dennis, if you want to keep working on it and link these artboards together and share a prototype maybe in the next stream, that might be an even better way for us to be able to experience the design that you've created. And if you only have one screen, that's fine. You don't have to do anything special. But cool. Do you want to give any
cool.
feedback? I'll kind of take the back seat because, like I said, I'm not much of a designer, but I'll
Cool.
contribute where I can.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as like what we were talking about with the wireframing being like more high fidelity, I think, you know, this is great because you've kind of implied the contents of like the little tiles. So you've said, okay, each tile will contain a place for it to like be favorite, like for it to become a favorite and then to add it to your cart. So that's really good. One of the things that I was just noticing was that the implied navigation in those artboards, yeah. Whenever I do designs that are like past like the viewport, like the normal viewport, I tend to typically just have the navigation sit at the very, very end. And then in the prototype, there's ways for you to like make it float on top of the layers, so then you can mimic that same interaction of having it be like sticky to the bottom.
Yeah, I think it's a little box you can click called scrolling.
You
can
if
fix
you go
position
to
for
prototype.
scrolling, but yeah, so it can add like a fold in your artboard. So something you could do on dashboard, for instance, is you could fix position on this banner, and then you could create a fold on the artboard so that when you publish a live prototype, I could actually scroll up and down and it would create the effect that you're looking for.
Yeah, so that is pretty cool.
But you've given us a good indication of what you're going for, which is nice.
Yeah, so really cool job.
Yeah, great job. All right, we'll move on to the next one. This was shared by...
Fancy.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't write down the name, but if we switch to your screen real quick, I can tell you. Yeah, here we go. Oh, we have one more. I'm glad I looked. That's Vit shared this one, and then the next one's Hannah. Okay, cool. So this one's shared by Vit, and it's just one screen.
Cool.
It's a phone e-commerce, sort of like a landing page
Oh, that's awesome.
with some real copy.
Yay.
Yes, cell phones.
Awesome. Phones.
Yes, you can do that.
Nice and simple. Nice like use of white for the CTA.
I like the colors, the contrast, like we were talking about. It doesn't feel too heavy. It feels like
Yeah.
there's a bit of space here.
Yeah, and like the graphic itself brings so much life to it. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to know where you found this, or if you created it.
Or if you created it, yeah.
It's really neat.
Yeah, it's I guess the one piece of like feedback that I can provide for this one, and it's something again going back to the accessibility of anything that you design. One of the best practices that I found was like using no more than 100 characters per line, or like just making sure that you establish kind of like that width, and that just makes it much easier for people to parse through the content and maybe add, you know, a sentence and then make shorter paragraphs. That kind of makes a difference too.
Totally. I think this would be neat if it was like 2 or 3 lines. It would, for me, this space right here feels like it's a bit too much text.
Yeah.
And if you were to play with the length of the lines and really kind of take out what's unnecessary, it might be even stronger of a homepage.
Yeah.
But I like it, and I also like that we can comment on these prototypes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice job.
Super cool.
There you go, from Adobe Live.
AKA Gus.
Yeah, me. Gus Bot. All right, we'll go to Hannah's. Hannah did 3 screens.
Oh, hey.
I don't see any active, but oh, nice, I see. So I can scroll
Oh.
down, shop whatever, now. Scroll down
That interaction,
to
look
register.
at that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. It would be super cool too if for some, so I don't know if XD can do this, but if you clicked, if it scrolled for you,
Oh, yeah.
that would be neat.
That'd be neat.
Cool.
Very nice.
Just at first glance, I would love to see this register not overlap the email. The G hangs over onto the I and the L.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a drop shadow, which I get why you did that, but I would think it would be nice if it was moved up just a little bit. What do you think?
No, yeah, I was just thinking like if, let's say you have to incorporate space for like an error message, let's say I didn't enter my correct password or that email is not recognized, you might want to account for that space so the fields are not like directly touching each other. Maybe there's a little bit more space in between them. Yeah, so
Cool.
it's kind of
Vit says that he used a black phone and then made the rest on that last one we looked at.
okay.
So he made this.
Nice. That's awesome.
All right, we'll click sign up. Ooh, nice transition. Wait, let's
Very
do that one more
cool.
time. Do that one more time.
Yes, fade.
Nice. That's really good.
Very
Jane,
cool.
how are you?
Color palette is neat.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's
very
also
cool.
just kind of an interesting layout of items here.
Yeah.
Like it's not really uniform, but
I wonder if maybe the thought was that they would kind of like float through, kind of like fade in.
that'd
Maybe.
be cool.
Yeah.
What if what if this was an app where like items were on sale for the amount of time that they're on your screen, and they're like
You're like,
constantly
"Ah!"
floating in and out, and if
Yeah.
you miss it, then you miss the
Then
deal.
they're gone.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But this is great. And so I think there's one more state that we didn't see. Maybe if you hit skip this. Oh, I don't see what to click. Oh, profile. Nice.
Okay, cool.
Jane's profile.
Here we go.
Hit profile. Goes back to the beginning. Cool.
Looks good.
I really like it. I like the colors.
Yeah.
It's clean. Good job, Hannah. If you want
Great
to
job.
keep working on it, feel free to. You can add more screens. You can play with some of the design, make some of the changes that we had suggested, and share it again in the next stream, along with everyone else. And I think this one was shared in the first stream. But we'll look at it again.
Sweet.
So there's an arrow. You can click on it, and then it pulls up.
Very clean.
It's a very simple interaction, but it's also very clean.
Yeah, I like that. I think what would help here would be just like bringing a little bit more attention to the CTAs. You know, whether that's like by making the text a little bit bolder or actually giving it like a button treatment. You know, I think something like that would be helpful.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for the
Cool.
feedback. So that's all that was shared with us for this stream. But like I said, share again. We'll do some more reviews in the next stream. And let's take a look at the straw poll. Let me refresh it real quick. So we have a tie for first place between Fit Fund and Benefit,
Oh, nice.
which is very clever.
Yeah, which also reminds me of a beauty brand, Benefit.
Oh,
So,
there's one? Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe not then.
but Fit Fund,
Fit Razor.
Fit Racer.
Springs, which I didn't even see that one in chat. That's good. Raise, Fit, Give, Philanthropit, Fund Fit, Sweat for Profit, Fit Trust. There was no gains on here, but
I know. What about the?
I like
the
gains
water?
on gains on gains.
Fit Fund. Okay.
Well, you can think about that.
Okay. We'll
You don't
think
have to
about that.
decide, but thank you for sharing your ideas with us and
Yeah.
for voting on them. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Naming is like not my strongest.
We got some options.
Yeah.
We'll think about it too.
All right. So one of the things that I think would be cool to have in the little tile is, let's say there's a video for this particular campaign and it's something that's very compelling and you can learn more about it, then we could probably have that down here for you to watch. It could be cool. And I'm thinking this might be a little bit, yeah,
I feel like campaign videos are always so compelling nowadays.
they are, yeah. People spend a lot of money into like making them really emotional and they
Right.
really get to you.
And I guess it's nothing new. We grew up with those infomercials on TV about, hey, there's this serious issue going on, you should check it out.
Yeah.
But the artistic quality, I think, has increased
Yeah, and it's like,
dramatically.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah, totally. Maybe you should put that underneath it. I'm not crying, you're crying.
You're crying. Yeah. So,
Sweat equity. Sweat quiddy.
sweat.
Sweat quiddy. That'd be hard to say, but I like the thought.
I was wondering if we need maybe like something else that would compel you to donate, besides from like a video and the fact that you know that the amount.
It would be interesting if you had something you could collapse or not collapse about the amount underneath that said something like donation, like more details.
Right.
In terms of donate $30 to provide water for 2 families in Uganda, and then you could like click on like more details, and then it would like pull out for you.
Yeah.
$20 is going here, $2 is going, and it really gives some transparency. That might be nice.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Okay, no one freaked out. No.
Because I think that was
It's
something
large.
that most people in chat had said was a big benefit of places that they have donated to, is like real transparency in terms of every dollar where it's going.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna, real quick, someone was asking about the hex value for this green.
Mm-hmm.
So, in case you were wondering, it's 24B49E. Maybe Gus can add it to the chat. I know, like, there was a couple questions about it.
Can you say it again one more time?
Yeah, so 24B49E.
All right, it's in there from the vault. Rocky, add it to your vault.
Add it to the vault. And then, okay, a few more details. So, let me see what I have in the little...
Yeah, that's a good idea, Jeff. Jeff says you could, in the details, you could use a simple pie chart graphic to show that.
Oh,
It could
totally.
be a pie chart cut into pieces where the money's going.
Love that. Okay.
Oh, Roxanne says she wants to know how long the water will last for $30. So provide water for 2 families in Uganda, but
Oh, okay,
For
maybe,
how long?
yeah. Maybe we can have some more information as far as, like, how long, like that.
it's a good point.
I'm gonna make these maybe 16. Oh, I thought that was... I'm getting a nice little error.
You know what we need to do after the stream today?
What?
We gotta go full Cali. And then tomorrow,
Hello,
we're doing a
burrito.
full Cali stream. We
Except
we
it's
need
kind
Juan
of
to show
windy
us.
today. Yeah. The full Cali concept changes when you come to San Francisco.
Oh,
I feel like in San Diego, it's like we go surfing. It's always sunny.
that's what we need.
But over here, it has to be a little bit adapted.
We're gonna go full Cali San Diego.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So.
Braden, good question about superscript support in XD. If you have questions like that, we have a stream every Friday with Talon Wadsworth. He's the lead designer of Adobe XD, and he gives a lot of transparency into the program and how it's being designed and developed. That's a great question for Talon, so it's every Friday at noon. You also can check out the user voice forum for questions like that. So if you have requests or feature requests, or you want updates on feature requests, go to the user voice forum, hit up Talon on Friday, and you should be able to get some answers.
User voice. All right, let's see. So we were using this color and then 30%. Okay, so I was also thinking, depending on, I mean, right now we have this green as our CTA. Like, I was thinking that could potentially become the color of the text links too, to add a little bit of color. So actually I should add this as a swatch color so I don't have to do this.
We have some. So Rocky says that the SoCal, full Cali, is surfing, sun, beer, Cali burritos. Claude says the NorCal is Patagonia jacket, tight haircut, AirPods, and talking about app ideas.
That totally, yeah.
We'll make a hybrid. Jeff has a good idea about payments too. Maybe the payments could be broken down into micro payments or
Ooh.
like daily payments.
Yeah.
So for $1 a day, you can provide clean water instead of for $30. It's the
I
same
really
amount
like
of
that.
money, but it feels a little bit.
And it also gets you working out every day, which we like.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it was like, here's your goal for the day to earn $1,
Yeah.
and it gets you creating a habit, like we talked about.
That.
That'd be cool.
So $1 a day, or I guess we'll can provide water to 2 families.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. Good idea.
It's a keyword, but provide clean water sometimes is nice too. Because people are like, okay, but what's the water like?
Yeah. Also, I'm a little confused why that was giving me a little underline, but it's gone. So I think we're good.
Yeah, I think you're okay. Good idea, Jeff. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah.
And
thank
as
you.
we're working like today, we're coming to an end in about 5 minutes, but throughout the week, if you have ideas like that, we really want to build this app alongside you as the community with your input, because we're making it for people. And this is a great way for us to get good ideas and to test it.
Almost thinking we can switch this.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe. And then we can just make this a little tighter.
Eunice says $1 in bold. We've already got some bold, but I mean, it's your call. If you have an idea.
What I do like is that even though I have a character style applied, I can still change part of the text. So if I wanted to do that, I could.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
What if the $1 was like a little wheel and you could pick? Like it's set
Ooh.
to 1, but you could change the wheel to like 2 or 3 or 9 or whatever.
Yeah,
Might
that'd be
kinda
nice.
neat. Keita just voted for the dark interface for XD, probably on user voice. Thanks for doing that. And I do want to give everyone a reminder, and you, we're going to be closing up the stream in about 4 minutes. So if you want to, this might be a good time to start recapping what we worked on today, and we can give them an indication of what you'll work on tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so today we're focusing mainly on the onboarding experience. So with it being, you come to this app and you create your profile, maybe you add a photo, and then you select a nonprofit to get started with. And the idea is that by selecting this nonprofit, you would basically get access to a view where you can see all of the campaigns that they're currently having active, and then you could eventually select a workout to donate your proceeds to that particular cause. So that's, today we got through a little bit of the onboarding, a little bit of the actual nonprofit kind of like detail view. And then tomorrow we'll be diving more into giving this particular screen some final touches, the navigation, and then starting the activity. So basically if you're doing a run or a walk, that's kind of where we'll be utilizing these symbols here.
Nice. And there's some comments about like the wording and stuff. I just want to let everyone know we'll go back and look at the way the sentences are structured. We made some changes. It's not finalized, but thank you for your input. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see this come to life over the next 2 days. I think you got a great start here.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone that joined, and it's really fun.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can follow Anna on her social media. I think we have links to her website and also maybe to you have Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn,
You name
all
it.
the good stuff. Yeah.
So hit her up, send her a message, say hi to her. If you have ideas for the app, you can send them after the stream. But, you know, all the love is appreciated. We'll be live right after this with Kevin Lee, who was live earlier this morning. He'll be live with our special guest of the day, Michael Shays. And we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Battle.